Okay, we are live. Just going over some info because this is really cool stuff. .97%. .08%. In the 4 years that President Trump All right. And there we are. Hello, Texas. And welcome, Tallahassee, Florida, into the Smart Money Culture family. Holy moly. Can you believe it? I want to go over some stuff here. The average house, we're going to, welcome, Texas and Louisiana and Tallahassee, Florida. This program is being brought to you by A1 Roofing Solutions. Let's go over I'm your host tonight, Fly Mackey. We're only going to be on for about 30 minutes or so. Look at this. I'm losing weight. I am losing weight. I almost can do it. Look at this. We're going to do some math here. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's take a look at our mortgage calculators here, because we're going to get right into this on what it would cost to buy a house in let's see what that was here. This is the average price for a house in 1924 was $7,000. Matter of fact, my very first house that I bought 40 years ago only cost $7,000. Actually, it was $8,000. Incredible little 2-bedroom stick house. Whew. I was so scared back then. I didn't know whether I was pitching or catching. Anyway, the average house in was $7,000. The average house in 1990, 30 years ago, with a 3% interest rate. So let's do the math on that. $7,000. Average interest rate was 3%. 3% for 30 years. Calculate that out. The average house would have cost you a total of $10,623, and you paid a total of $3,623. $3,623 in interest. over 30 years. This is for 30 years. Okay. Now, look at this. In 2000, we're going to go back 30 years. Okay. 1990, the average house was $140,000. Y'all with me on this? $140,000. And the interest rate was 9.97%. 30 years. There's the math right there. 441. So the average house that cost $140,000 in 1990 ultimately cost $441,180. Cost an extra $301,180. $301,180 in interest. Okay? We're going to go down this rabbit hole. Now, what's crazy is 10 years later, the average price went down. It was $119,000, right? $119,600. And the average interest rate there was what? 8.08%. 8.08. Do the math on that. They paid $198,733. $198,733. In interest. Let's fast forward to this year. The average house is 433 across the board around the United States. 433,229. That's the average house this year at, what is it? 6.08%, because it's gone down, so the average has gone down. 6, 8, 30 years is going to cost you, wow, look at this. This is going to cost you a whopping $509,881 in interest payments. So let's just take a look at this. 100 years ago, you could buy a house for about $7,000. In 30 years, you'd wind up paying about $3,600 in interest, total of $10,000. Hold on one second. You fast forward this to 30 years. 30 years, the average house cost $10,250. That was the average price of a house to buy in 1954. 30 years later. 30 years later. Imagine these days. Wow. Wow. The price of homes only went up about $3,000 in average over the period of 30 years. Then you get the Democrats coming in. These guys and gals. You got these guys coming in now. And they're totally. I'm getting old. Man, I don't look young and handsome anymore. It's okay. Just look at this, America. Look what they've done to us. And we went out, we supposedly had a revolution over a 2% tax on tea. That was all a lie. There was no truth to none of that. So you're looking at, because now this is the future, so we're not going to go too far into the future of what you're going to pay. But if the average house this year in America, average across the board, the median house, $433,229 with a 6.08% interest rate, you're looking at $509,000 that they're going to pay in interest over that 30 years. So when we go to, which is going to make that house worth what? 943, 110, which is going to make this house in 30 years 943, 110. Okay. Now the which goes to show you, when in 30 years from now, the average cost of a roof is going to be about $140,000, give or take. It's about 12% of the value of the house, 10 to 12%. But to be safe, just say 12. It's better to add a little extra than take away a little extra. Okay. My braid came out. Okay, so in this scenario here, where 30 years ago, let me see if I got that right. That would be the average price of the house in 1990, 30 years ago, okay, $140,000 at 9.9% interest. She paid $301,000. So my math was off there. That's not 200. I got my math off. It was actually right at about 140,000, not 220 that she paid, but she paid $301,000 in interest. Okay, so for that house, she paid a total of 400. Take this number here, and then this number here. Take 140,400 and take 301,180 in interest. That gives you 0.85144, 441,000. Now she put $90,000 in remodel. She put a $16,000 roof on there. She should have put a $30,000 roof on it. She, because the value of the houses were around 355,000. By the way, the value of the houses, where her house was 355,000, but she put 441,000. She paid 441,000 for the house, and she put a new air conditioner on. Okay, so she paid a total of an extra 121,000. So you take the 441,580. Hold on, let me erase these numbers here. Okay, you take the 441,580 along with these numbers here and put it here, which was 121,000. In upgrade remodels, she paid 8, 5, 2, 6, $562,000. She actually paid more than what we calculated over here. $562,580. She sold it for $305,000, which is a 0.85. That's a 12. That makes that a 7.5. She lost. She paid $257,580 that she lost in the house and sold it for $305,000. She actually, if you do the math on that, we could just go down the rabbit hole one more time. Well, she sold it for $305,000. So she made no money on this house. She actually lost $257,580 on this house. Are you getting this, guys and gals? And this is what are you getting this, guys and gals? Hold on. Let me share that with you. Look at this. She spent, let's do the math on this, $140,000. $140,400. $140,400. And the interest rate in 1990 was 9.97%. 9.97. And we know she didn't refinance because she told me she didn't, and she just had it paid off. It took her this year, it was paid for. 30 years, calculated out, she paid $302,040. So $302,000. You see that? $302,040. I have it calculated at $301.80. Let's just leave it at $301. I don't want to erase it. Even though it says that she paid a little bit more, I want to keep it at those numbers, okay? Can you see that down there in the corner? Okay. Now, you take the price she paid for the house. You take the interest that she paid. She paid a total of $441,580. She put $121,000 in upgrades in it, including a roof that was useless because she had to discount the price because she put a $16,000 roof on instead of a $40,000 roof. Instead of a $35,000 roof, $37,000. She put a brand new air conditioner on, didn't need to do that, but she lost $257,000. Even though she cashed out and got $305,000, she lost another $257,000. So this is why we teach velocity banking. And I can go down the rabbit hole with all this stuff. This is why you want to get credit. Hit that button right there, smartmoneyculture.tv/credit. Go there, fill it out. I can walk you through the scenario. I'll have you send us all the info. We can walk you through the scenario. Or you don't have to hire us, but you can hire us if you want to. It doesn't cost that much to hire us. You know, we'll make some money on the back end. That'll help out, but that we'll charge you a little bit up front, you know, about $4,000 or $5,000 so that we can pay the bills. And then we'll take some money on the back end when you get the credit. Okay. But besides that, we're going to show you how to do the velocity banking. And when you learn how to do the velocity banking, you know, on this right here, in order to get a $433,000 house now, you have to have an income of about $8,000. $8,000. Okay. Almost. About 8,000. Look at this, Faith. Got the engineers back there. I'm still fat as hell, but I'm starting to lose a little bit. Not a lot. Anyway, when you have to have and then you have to put 10 to 20% down. It's better if you put 20% down, because then it brings the total cost of what you're going to pay back. Now, where do you get that 20% down? Well, you should get it out of your line of credit. And you get the line of credit before you buy the house and get a mortgage. So if you have a 700 plus credit score, you make about $8,000. Okay. Your debt to income is that. What is that? Your debt to income has to be under 40%, because this is the way it works. So those of you out there who think you're going to get it, you just have to wait till you get there. And those of you that are already here, it's available for you. So your debt can't be any higher. Your debt's any higher of $3,200. Okay? This is your DTI, debt to income ratio. Debt, DTI, debt to income. Okay? So 8,000, 3,200 in bills. Then you qualify for this $443,000 house. Right here, right in front of me. Got too much red up here. But we'll show you how to do this. This gives you an access of, gives you $4,800 in cash flow. And we'll show you how to take that and pay this mortgage off. Hold on a second. Let me show you how. I'm going to put it into our software. Okay. I'm going to buy a house for $433,229. I'm going to take the 20% down payment out of my line of credit. Please calculate that. Of $86,645.80 out of my line of credit. My line of credit is $100,000. I'm going to use the money from my line of credit as the down payment for this house that cost $433,229. Okay, now hold on, guys. Which means we're going to take a loan out for $356,583.20. I'm going to run out of time here, I'm pretty sure. Let me check here. We may go to commercial break, but if not, I'll let you know. So we're going to take a loan out on this particular case for $356,583.20. Okay, but we're going to take the down payment. We're going to take out of the line of credit. Okay, instead of our cash, which means we get to keep our $86,645 in cash. Okay, we get to keep it. The credit part, we're going to pay as the down payment. Okay, all right, which leaves us $356,000. So we're going to do a velocity banking strategy here for about 6 months, so that and by the way, when we get this mortgage, it all settles, and she gets the house. Then we're going to take this and we're going to get a first lien HELOC, because they have amazing credit score of 740, and they have an income of, once again, where are we at here? Income of $8,000. Where is it? I can't see nothing. Oh yeah, the income of $8,000. See that? Income of $8,000. Bills of this right here. She's going to get the line of credit. She already has the line of credit for $100,000. That's where she's going to get her deposit. But she gets to keep her $86,645 in cash. Is this cool or what? All right. So as soon as this is so cool. As soon as she gets the house and gets financed, I would take, and I think, and I may be wrong on this one, but I think you take the $86,000 and pay off the line of credit. So now that's free and clear. And then you're going to go back and get a first lien. A first lien. Okay. All right. Talk me into it. All right, we're back. Then she's going to take, all right, so now watch this. The line of credit, she's going to pay her deposit for the house, which cost what? $433,000. You get that? The house cost $433,229. So the 20% down, which is $86,645.80. Okay, she's going to pay out of her credit line. Okay, her line of credit. Okay, the $86,645.80 in cash that she has to do the down payment, she's going to keep. She gets to keep it because she's going to pay the $86,000 out of her $100,000 line of credit. Are you guys with me on this? And this stuff is really cool stuff. Okay, Now watch what happens here. Okay, I know I'm cluttering things up. I might want to make this a little simpler. Okay, this is her down payment, the $86,645.80. This is her 20% down. Okay, instead of paying the cash, she's going to pay out of her line of credit. Okay, which means she gets to keep her $86,000 in cash. Okay, are we there? That means that's going to bring down she's going to borrow $356,583. Now she's going to take this cash and she's going to pay off that line of credit as soon as she gets the house and gets financed here, okay? This is just one strategy. It's a simple strategy. It's not complicated. It may sound a little complicated, but she's just going to keep her cash. By the way, I wouldn't do anything. I would keep the cash, and I'd put that into my banking system. I'd put it into my whole life banking system. Okay? She's not going to take the cash and pay it off. Sorry, I was totally wrong. She's going to take that cash and she's going to put it into her own banking system, which we're going to show you how to do. And if you want to go in advance, go to Christopher Noggle or Stephen Nagy. Those guys will teach you how to do it. They'll put you right into your own banking system. They're legends. If you want to know velocity banking, go to Christy Van. She's totally like she's somebody that you want to have in your back pocket that teaches about velocity banking. Okay, now let's do the math on this. Let's do the math. Let's have a little fun here. So let's take our finance calculator, and $440,000. She's going to pay $302,000 and she's going to pay $301,000 in our scenario, $180 in interest. Okay. All right. Actually, nope, messed that up. We're going to do a 356 583. 356 583. And this is at a 6.01 interest rate. All right, hold on a second. This is the scenario we're doing. Bam, bam, bam. Okay, got you. We already have this, what she's doing. We're going to go get a first lien HELOC. Right, 356. 350. 358. 6 1. Hold on. This is what we're doing. Lane. Let's do the calculations. Hold on a second. Hold on. Why does that keep doing that? Let's put it into our calculator here, or excuse me, our software. Then I'm going to get a first lien HELOC for $360,000. We're going to get it for just a little bit more than what she's going to have left to pay. Okay. Okay, now watch. Income is $8,000. Monthly bills, $3,200. I'm going to put the $8,000 into that $360,000 line of credit each month. And then I'm going to borrow back the $3,200 in bills each month. The interest rate on that line of credit is 7%. How many months is it going to take to pay off that $86,000 line of credit? Let's increase the line of credit from 360 and make that a $400,000 line of credit. Okay. Let's make this a $400,000. We're gonna ask to increase this 86,000 to $100,000 line of credit. That to 100 grand. Excuse me. Yeah, the 86,000. We're going to turn that into $100,000 line, 100K. All right. Line of credit. We're going to turn this into a $400,000 line of credit. This is going to be a total of $500,000. Combine the two, or you could take this and do what's called a first lien HELOC, which would be what? Total of $433,000. You want to do that? Let's make that $450,000 line of credit, first lien HELOC. Okay. All right. Now, typically, they're going to give you about 80 to 90% on the value of the house. So if you put down the 86% or the 86,000, it's going to bring this down to this, which is going to be what? Which is going to give you 80%. And typically they give you 80 to 90% on the HELOC, which means this they're going to give you. Okay? Because you already paid this out of your line of credit. That's why it's best to keep this the same. Right here, your line of credit. Leave that line of credit at 100,000. Okay. Keep that the same. Okay. And then get you a first lien HELOC for $360,000. Okay. And then you're good to go. Okay. So let's ask the computer here, our software. the first $360,000 line of, oh, hold on a second. 360. Which is going to make that a total of $460,000. Okay. So 86,000. We're going to get a line of credit for 100, so we can borrow the 86 out of the line of credit. That's going to leave 356,000. Okay. All right. Now we still have the 86,000 in cash, but we owe the line of credit. Okay. Hold on, guys. I'm going to get this right. That's going to be a total of $460,000 between the two lines of credit. Okay. Both lines of credit are at 7%. We're going to take the $8,000 income, put it into the first lien HELOC first. No, we should start with the smaller one. Let's do the first one is the $100,000, and then we're going to borrow back $3,200 out of that as well, and then we'll go to the larger line of credit of $360,000 afterwards. How many months is it going to take to pay off this $460,000, and how much interest will I save from doing it the conventional way of paying 6.8% on the $356,583? That was a lot. I may have messed this up a little bit, but let's see if I can get it to calculate here. Ooh, did it ever? Wow. I love this. Using this strategy here, using the 8,000 income, 3,200 in debt that we're going to pull out every month. It's going to take, instead of 360 months, this is 360 months, doing it this way here. This is the traditional way, traditional banking. See, you don't, the software, I've done this so many times now that the software knows exactly what I'm talking about when we do it. That's how good it is. The traditional way banking is 360 months, 30 years, okay? Where you're going to wind up paying that, you lose the 86,000 in cash because you put it down, and you're going to lose another, you're going to pay another $301,180 in interest. Okay? So for that $433,000 house, it actually cost you about $400,000 more. Okay? Now, doing it the velocity banking way, my software is so good now, it knows My software is so good now that it already knows. It'll pay off both of these in 96 months. Which is what? 8 years. 8 years. I'm going to pay $127,232 in interest. So you don't get away with not paying interest. But I'm going to save, are you ready? $353,061 in interest. You get this? I'm going to save $353,000 by paying off the mortgage, getting my own lines of credit using the velocity banking strategy. Not only is in 8 years are you going to have this completely paid for, but you're also going to save $353,061, and then you're going to have $460,000 in your line of credit that's free to use. That's an $800. That's almost that's a $900,000 swing. You're gonna have your house paid for in 8 years. You're gonna save $353,000 in interest that you would have paid. That $460,000 line of credit is paid for. Wow! Now tell me, woo! Oh my! This is how you turn your remodeling jobs that you're doing on your house into an investment. Now, if our sweet lady over here would have done this, if she would have done this, she would have saved lots of money. Anyway, we talk about this all the time. This is how you get your construction remodeling jobs done on your house for almost nothing, because you would have paid interest. Are you getting it? You would have paid interest. But instead, you get to save that interest that you would have paid. You still have to pay some interest, but you still get to save $353,000. And your line of credit in 8 years is paid for, and your house is paid for. So you got a $400,000 house. By the way, I have a $433,229 home that goes up in value each year about 4%. What's the value of the house going to be worth in 8 years? $500. So the house is going to be worth in 8 years $592,904. So she has a 433. It's going to go up about $160,000 almost to the dollar. $160,000. It's going to go up in value. She's going to have half $460,000 in credit to use. The house is going to be paid for. And she's going to save $353,000. Wow, is all I got to say. Wow. And this is velocity banking at its finest. And anybody can do it. Any one of you out there watching can do this. Go to smartmoneyculture.tv/credit and let us help you now. Let us help you if you want to, okay? Go out there. But once again, some of you have to have good credit in order to do this. If you don't have good credit, we can't help you. We can help you, but we can't do this. Okay? So if you don't have such great credit and it's terrible or it's in between somewhere, please go there and fill it out. Fill it out. Let us know what's happening, and then we'll put you in the right program for you to get there. Because this is what I say all the time. Tomorrow's coming, next week's coming, next month's coming, and next year and the next 10 years is coming with or without me. So do it today, because the time is going to pass anyway. So the best time to have planted a tree was 20 years ago, because then it had grown up, right? Lots of shade. When's the next best time to plant a tree? You're right. It's today. So there's no better time to start this journey. And you don't have to wait 20 years to get a house. It may take you a year or 2 years to get your profile where you want to get it, but that time's going by anyway. But anyway, for those of you who have good credit, this is a great scenario. Look at all this. Wow. And this is real stuff. I didn't make it up. Banking's been working this way for thousands of years. Thousands. It only changed about 100 years ago. Less than 100. We don't know that because we don't know what they did back then, because I'm 60 years old. Anybody who's 60 years or younger don't know how they used to do this. You don't know it. But I'm telling you how it was. I remember when I was a kid, you could go down to the local butcher. Mama would send me down, and we had our own animals, okay? But we'd go down to the butcher, and he'd say, "Here, take this home to your mama." And I didn't pay him anything. It went on our credit line, because that's the way it used to work. Same way with the shoes. There was a shoe store. Go down there and get some shoes. They put it on our credit line, because that's the way it used to work. Now, you don't know this because you're not old enough to know this. But as God is my witness, that's how it used to be. And even in my day, for thousands of years, so they have us believing that this is the way it has to be. That's not true. This system has changed so much that 99% of Americans use traditional banking, and they don't use this anymore. But this is where you want to be, because now you're in charge of your own economy when you do that. This stuff's exciting. I don't know. I do get very excited. You guys know that, right? You guys know I get very, very excited. I can't help myself. I'm sorry. I just can't. Anyway, thank you, Corpus Christi, Houston, College Station, Beaumont, Texas, Lake Charles, Louisiana, and hello, Tallahassee, Florida. Man, I am so grateful to have you on board. You will be live in about 3 days, and I'm just excited to have you. Man, I'm just excited to have you. And in December, Miami as well. So it's going to be really cool to see what happens here moving forward with our company. It's just amazing stuff. Okay, so I am going to be live for about 3 more minutes, and then it's going back to regular programming. Find the one you love. Listen, it's better to forgive than to hold a resentment. Do your best not to drink. Don't do drugs. Love your neighbor. Love your family more. Find the one you love. Sink to their eyes and smile and tell them you love them, because you don't know when you're going to get a second chance. I forgot to hit the record button on my second show here. This was a good show. You can get it out of our archives over here, engineers. So Bitcoin, wow. Whoa. Bitcoin is woo. Wow. Wow. $65,884.70 as we speak. $65,884.88 as we speak. All right. Fly Mackey here with Smart Money Culture Television. I'm your CEO and founder. So grateful to be coming into your homes in these great cities in Texas, Louisiana, and now Tallahassee, Florida. Okay. Find the one you love. Sing to the rise. Tell them you love them. You never know if you're going to get a second chance. God bless you. Have a great night.